Hi, I'm Buck, and I'm here with my friend Amy, and we have been away um, for vacation and other things that we're going to get into. But we're back, and I am somebody who's been in therapy and psychiatry, and um, I am currently with a new psychiatrist and being referred, and I'll talk about that. And Amy has been a
Yeah.
therapist for 40 years. And Amy, what is your dysfunction of the week? We always start off with that.
Yeah. So I was at my office and I have these lava lamps. I like to rescue them from the thrift store. The first one I found, I was like, I'll never find another one. And now I've found like five. So I have three of them in my office on the windowsill, and they're all plugged into like one of those multi plug in, things.
Right.
And but it was on the floor, and I had to go to the restroom. I was trying to get out of my, trying to leave for the day, and I had to go to the restroom, and I was in such a hurry. I like moved over to the door and realized that I was totally hooked up to the cord that goes with the like multi
Right.
level plug. And as I turned around, all my lava lamps fell right to the floor. And after looking to make sure that none of them were broken, I turned off the light so that there weren't like just lights on there.
Right.
And I totally left all my lava lamps on the floor, or three of them, because they're, as it turns out, they're a lot easier to find in thrift stores than you might think. So
Yeah, I know.
anyway, and I've sold a couple actually, like people buy them on eBay, whatever. Um, this time they're just all on the floor, and that's what I go back to tomorrow. I have to get to my office early tomorrow for class because I have to clean up the lava lamp. But at least they didn't break. They're fine because then it's a huge mess. Then you have like wax all over because that's what's in that lava lamp is wax.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my dysfunction.
Well,
Not watching for cords, and my physical therapist would yell at me about that. I'm quite sure.
yeah.
So go ahead.
Mine is something that's been going on for 5 months. And it's really every time I shave, I have some sort of rash here that has now spread to here. And all I need to do is go to the doctor, which I actually did call today and I'm waiting
Good.
for a call back because I want to go into the nurses and see. I need to be referred to a dermatologist. But I shaved again because I have a call back this afternoon, and I put hydrogen peroxide and alcohol and like fungal cream because I don't know what it is, and it did is burn it.
Mm-hmm.
So now in the audition, I have to go, and I'm gonna have to wear foundation.
Make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wear makeup, and
Yeah.
I hate wearing makeup unless I'm paid to wear makeup
Yes.
for a shoot or a play or something like that. But it's just every time I shave, I'm like, oh yeah, I should go to the doctor. Oh yeah, I should go to
Yep.
the doctor. And in Canada, it's free,
It's free, so
so
there's no reason to
and
go
I
other
have a
than
situation where I can just walk in. They prefer that you call, but you can just walk into the
you can walk
nurses,
in.
and there's an attending doctor, and he'll, write out a referral to go to a dermatologist. So that's
That's all it is.
so I wanted to start
No.
today.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're going to
Uh-huh.
talk about what we did on this time off. One of the things that I did is I finally got a meeting with a new psychiatrist who's a consulting psychiatrist.
Yay.
And she was really, really great. It's at this facility. It's part of McGill. It's called Douglas. And they have an inpatient there too. And it's right in the middle of this gorgeous park. I mean, it's just this huge
Lovely.
park with these huge trees. And, if you're going to be crazy, that's a place to be crazy because,
Hmm.
go outside and walk in the park. But she agreed. She brought it up herself, but she agreed because this is what I think. I'm bipolar, and so
Um,
she asks you
Gee,
a
I
bazillion.
never thought about that.
She asks you a bazillion questions, and she goes, "I think you're bipolar." And I said, "I do
It could
too."
be true.
I said, "Because I do this, 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 this. I get really manic, and when I'm really
Yeah.
manic is the time that I want to actually be more manic. So I'll drink or I'll do
Do a ton of stuff or
right,
whatever. Yeah.
drugs, and it would make you because it keeps you happier for a while."
Absolutely.
And she goes, "Well, that's it then." And I said, and then when I'm low, it's like I'm falling off a cliff. And she said, yeah, that's it. So
Yeah.
she said, but what I'm going to do is send you to a psychiatrist who specializes in bipolar. So I'm waiting for that. Canada,
Yeah.
you get the medical attention, but it takes a while. So I
It's
don't know
slow. Yeah.
how long that's going.
Well, it does here too, by the way.
Yeah,
I,
well, I
I
know.
had I had an appointment with my neurologist for when my family was on vacation, and I called to change it, and they said, "Well, his next available is November." And I was like, "Okay." And they fortunately then they called me back and they said, "We actually got an opening. You know, somebody canceled. If you want that one." And I was like, "I would come even if it was like the middle of the night at this
Right.
point, you know,
Yeah.
because I just I need to get in to see my doctors." And they'll go 6 months, and they'll go 6 months from now. There's something in 8 months. You know, they just
Yeah, I know.
it's not really that much better here. I mean, there are people you can get into sooner, but it's hard to get into specialists. It's hard to get in for surgery, stuff like that. And then you know, it's not the government that even in Canada, it's not the government that runs the healthcare system. They just pay for the healthcare system. But here, it's the managed care. The insurance companies run the healthcare
Right.
system pretty much, and then they can deny you. You know, if they don't think that it's necessary, they can deny for paying for the services, or they can like make you wait. You know, like it's just hard to get services here too. That's why a lot of people end up going to the ERs
Right.
to get
Right.
because you can get in right away. They have to at least stabilize you
Right.
in the ER. So
Well, I mean, because I'm HIV, there's a nurses station that is with several nurses. I mean, we're talking about
yeah, yeah,
10 nurses,
yeah,
which is adjoining it. And you can just walk in. It's better to make an appointment, but you can just walk in. And it is like an
right,
emergency room, but you don't wait that long. You wait
right,
maybe 20 minutes, and then they'll get
yeah,
in to see you. There's a doctor, a visiting doctor that does the rounds there. So they'll call them in and then they can do a referral, like for me, for dermatology or something like that. But,
yeah.
I've gone in there really years ago, really, really sick, and I had pneumonia,
Mm.
and they were really fast
They
to
take
come
yeah,
in and
yeah. I think if it's life threatening, they get you in right away, like they do in the OR too.
yeah,
Yeah. If you're sitting there and you can breathe and you're just complaining about, like something you're concerned about on your body or whatever, they're not going to get you in right away. But if you come in and like when Eli used to get the croup, we would go right in and they would have him in a room right away, like
right,
because he couldn't breathe. So if you come in and you're bleeding profusely or you're puking, if you have something that's really visible and really bad, they will get you in fast.
right,
And and I have to say, once I was in the hospital these last all of June, it feels like uh, they do. I saw specialists, and I got and now they're sending all kinds of people into my house right now. So in fact, I might have to go answer the door after a little bit because I know there's a visiting nurse coming.
okay,
And they don't do much. They take your vites and like talk about your meds and like what you can do differently. But then I also have PT coming in a couple of times. I mean, these are short-term visits, but I've physical therapists coming in. I have occupational therapists coming in, and I got a visiting nurse coming in, and I have a doctor's appointment at this cancer specialist, and I don't really know why, but it's something about the infectious disease.
okay,
So I have to go. I have to go to that doctor. So it's just like once you're in the system and they know what they're doing, they have stuff to treat. They will take good care of you.
yeah, yeah,
You know, depending on the system in the hospital and your insurance, once again,
yeah.
because I'm quite sure this is about insurance paying for all that stuff.
Yeah, in the US,
So
it's really about insurance. Here,
it's all about insurance.
it's
Yeah.
not about that.
No,
So you've had quite the ordeal, too long
I
ordeal,
did.
before you
I
actually got to
did.
go on vacation.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that and the
Yeah.
pause?
Oh, sure. I feel like the entire month of June I was in and out of the hospital because I was in once I was in twice for preeclampsia, or not preeclampsia. Had that too, but not this. That's a pregnancy disease. I didn't have that right now. Uh, I had cellulitis on my leg from where the cat had scratched me, and then I had that twice. But the first time, uh, or no, I guess it was the second time. They gave me two meds, and they said take this one. And I know we talked about it. and I had a horrible rash over my entire body,
Right.
except for where the cellulitis had been. And so the doc that was treating it was like, "Can I write this up for a medical journal because it's really unusual?" And I was like, "I don't care." And then he goes, "I'm going to take a picture of your legs because that's where it was mostly." And I was like, "I don't think anybody's going to recognize me from my legs, so I don't
Right.
care. That's fine." So I read it, and of course, and he said, "You're not going to understand it," but actually, when I was back in the hospital for this next thing that I'm going to talk about, he just happened to see me there and brought me a copy of it, so I have a
Oh
copy
wow.
of it. Uh, but this last time that I was in, so I was in for that rash, and then this last time, all of a sudden, I just started. My blood pressure was spiking like 210 over 170, which is not sustainable. You will die.
Right.
Like so, and I was like, I understand that. So we're trying to get stable, trying to get stable. Finally got some meds, but it was like three different meds in like their highest quantity almost. And all of a sudden I was doing things like not being able to stay awake during sessions, during meetings with family, any of that kind of stuff. I couldn't stay awake and I couldn't find the words I wanted. And I'm pretty good at compensating because I have a relatively decent vocabulary. So if I was looking for the word iatrogenic, which is what this was, I knew to say, I couldn't think of iatrogenic, but I could think of doctor induced. So I would just substitute it. And I was doing that for a long time. And so the speech therapist came in to talk with me and see what I was talking about with that. And everybody's giving me cognitive tests. And I scored 100% on all the cognitive tests because it wasn't my cognitive functioning.
Right.
It was just brain fog. I felt like when I finally kind of figured it out, I said, I feel like I'm high all the time, and not the good floaty kind of high that you kind of
Right.
feel okay about. It was like I'm bugging out. The paranoid, the confusion, the I have to fall asleep at any given moment, and so once they weaned me off of all the blood pressure meds, and gave me just one blood pressure med, then I was able to think and able to like know what was going on and
Right.
able to like so I what I was going to say about that is there are lots of things that are iatrogenically induced. That means caused by the treatment or by the doctor or by the cure. And but even as a person who understands my health and my body to mostly, and who can advocate for myself, and I don't feel cowed by the doctors, I will push back on doctors when I really feel strongly about
Right.
something. But I just didn't think about it with this. I was like, well, that's what I need because my blood pressure is so high, and now it's running pretty good. But when my blood pressure gets below like, I mean, it's been running like 130 over 70. I understand that's really pretty normal. But if it gets below that for me, I just don't feel like I can function.
Right.
And that's sort of, I think that's par for the course of all of my family. We all, like my brother, my sister, and my mom, we all have high blood pressure that it just runs high. And if we're treating it and we're taking care of it, then it's okay. But that's sorry, pop-ups keep back. My sister actually had a heart attack because she wasn't monitoring it
Right.
as well as she should. That was why she had it, because her arteries were getting clogged up.
Well,
So anyway,
you have a pacemaker, right?
that was the other thing that happened. I went in, I had AFib, which I might have been having for a long, long time. But they said, it's really bad right now, and they put a pacemaker in. So yeah, I got a pacemaker too. That was another fun thing that happened to me. And when I was talking to my son about being Logie and like not thinking, he goes, "Mom, you just had heart surgery."
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I always forget that.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like surgery because they don't put you all the way out. They kind of make you be like in that twilight zone where you're awake but not really. And I could see what he was doing, and they would, they put the thing in, and then he would like wait a little bit, and then he'd shove it in further, and then he'd wait a little bit, and he'd shove it in further. I was like, this is really unpleasant. So, but I have a pretty high pain threshold, so
Oh.
and I was like, whatever. He's like, how is that hurting you? And I go, oh, it's like a 4 or 5, which is like, and then one of the doctors said, that's like a 9 for her. For other people, that would be a 9.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, it's okay. They just gave me some cream, and I didn't want narcotics. I think I just took like PM Tylenol or just extra strength Tylenol or
Right.
whatever, and it was fine. So yeah, and now I guess theoretically I can do a lot more stuff and not worry about my heart stopping or getting AFib.
Right. Well, it
So
just keeps it regular, right?
yeah, yeah, it just makes it like be at a normal pace. So
And then
yeah,
you were finally through all that. You were in the hospital
yeah,
like 3 times, right?
yeah, 4 times,
4 times.
twice for cellulitis. I mean, that was a while back, but the first time was cellulitis, then cellulitis again, and then the really bad rash, the allergic reaction to the meds. That's rash, and then finally, and they didn't put me in for the AFib, but I wonder how much that contributed to some of the brain fog too.
Right.
But they did, I did outpatient with the pacemaker. So yeah, it was like all kinds of things and just nutty and and I didn't get to enjoy June at all.
Yeah.
But and then the other part was that my husband was all concerned that I wouldn't be able to travel because my family's once a year, my family vacation. We rent a really nice house and we all go to the destination and we have this like week long vacation with lots of traditions and we still call them the kids, but it's like my mom, my sister, my brother, our spouses, and all of our children who are now. I mean, my son's almost 30, or he is 30. He turned 30 in July, so they're not kids anymore. The youngest is 21. They're all adults. So anyway, but we just have fun as a family, and the cousins love each other. It's a time for them to get to see each other. And so when I'm in the hospital, and we're supposed to leave in like a week, and I was like, I need to get my act together and get out of here. And so I talked to the doctor, and the doctor said, "There's no reason you can't travel." So I was like to my husband, "See, I can go." so so we went, and I to appease him because he was terrified for me. I said, I'm not going to do anything you think I shouldn't while we're down there. So I didn't get in the pool for the first couple of days. And then I was finally like, I'm sure I can do the pool.
Right.
I'm sure I can get out of the pool. I can get out. All people have, I can get in easily. It's getting out that's harder because there wasn't anything to hold on to.
Right.
But I just said, stand here and just stand my walker over here and I'll climb up you until I get to my walker and then I'm fine. And I was, and I didn't, a couple of my family would go, like, we didn't do everything. Sometimes we do like a big family outing and we'll go to a restaurant or something, but like people were like, let's just stay in. We had a great pool. It was, they had two kitchens in this huge house we were in that we kind of lucked into, and it didn't cost that much. Like usually Airbnbs can be really expensive,
Right.
or the Verbos, but um, they one of the one we had. Here's the other thing that happened. We had one booked. I mean, I'm talking a lot, but hear me out. We had a Verbo booked, and we got a message like a month ago that they were no longer going to be on Verbo, and they canceled us. And we were like, I don't know what we're going to do. So we all got on and we were Googling around. And my brother said, here's another place through that same company. And it happens to be free for the week that we needed. So we Googled or emailed them and they gave it to us for like 2,000 less than what we were booked for at the other
Oh,
house.
great.
I think it was because it needed to be rented and they didn't have anybody. And so we got it for a really good price. But it had a lot of issues. Nothing that kept us from having a really good time. But it had two kitchens, so you'd be trying to cook in one kitchen, and it would be like, "Where's the spatula?" And somebody would have to run upstairs to get a spatula. And I mean, it wasn't even like, "Oh, they keep the air fryer up there." Or something. It was like basic stuff
Right.
that was like spread between these two kitchens. So fortunately, we have younger people that can go up and down the steps pretty easily. So it worked out okay.
Yeah.
But so we had all our meals. We take turns cooking. My husband and I always do Taco Tuesday. So if there's a Tuesday, we do Taco Tuesday and try to make interesting tacos or really good meat or whatever. And then different people just take different days and we do different meals. And this year the kids did one of the adult children did one of the meals, so we didn't have to all share that. And we just kind of would put together whatever for
Right.
breakfast. But I got to go. I was really happy. I got in the pool at least once, and otherwise I just kind of hung out and we play games. We have Christmas in July where we trade presents,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, I got an emotional support animal.
Oh.
He's weighted too. He's weighted, and if you put him in the microwave, he will heat up, and he's got like lavender in him, so he smells really good. Anyway,
So
so
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
yeah, I got one. Yeah,
And you got one. You
Yeah,
got one.
a hippopotamus and my two front teeth. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when I was when I was like 3, I knocked out my baby teeth, and the new ones weren't ready to come in, and I always thought it took everybody forever to get their new teeth in. And when I had my kid and he knocked his teeth, or he lost his teeth the regular way, and they came back so fast, I was like, oh, I didn't have teeth because I was 3 and I had to wait till I was 5.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're kind of slow. But
Yeah,
how was the house as far as like being a
accessibility.
handicap accessible?
Yeah. Well, they always people think that it's handicap accessible if you can walk into the front door without a stoop, which we could. Like there wasn't a stoop at the front door; you could walk straight in. That was nice. But then my handicap accessible room had bars in the shower. I think that was the accessibility, but the bathtub was in a water closet, which is when everything else, the whole bathroom is kind of
Right.
one piece, except the toilet's in a little room by
Right.
itself. And sometimes, if a water closet might be the toilet and the sink, like within a bigger, with the shower next door. But this was literally, you would have to like almost back in. It was that narrow and that small to get into the ensuite bathroom.
Right.
And it was terrifying, and I couldn't get up off of that toilet at all. So I think I used it once, and then I was like, nope. And there was a hallway bathroom, like out the door and around a corner. That was actually the bathroom that was connected to the pool, so that if you wanted to come in out of the pool.
Right.
But the toilet was like in a much more accessible spot, and the shower didn't have any. I couldn't roll into it, but it was no tub and no.
Right.
It was easier to get in and out of there. So and I didn't have to take a shower every day. Obviously, we were in the pool every day, so
Right.
I wasn't stinky. But it's really hard when people say it's handicap accessible, but it actually is not. And people don't think about when you're not in a wheelchair, or you not don't need to have a rolly thing or something. Even something as minor as like going from tile to carpet in that little bumpy thing that holds it down.
Right.
That can trip me up. I need that kind of stuff to not be there. Area rugs are terrible. Um, any kind of anything that's you wouldn't necessarily think of becomes a tripping
Right.
hazard when when
You
you're
have
disabled.
when you have
You
different
know?
levels, like the level
Yeah.
of the floor, and then the carpet, and then the level of
Right.
tile. With
Yeah.
a threshold barrier.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so
That can
to
trip me up.
finish off the tile or the carpet, then they have those little, and you can trip on those, especially if it's in a house that's used a lot. So they start
Yeah.
to come up. Yeah, and then having because I told you I worked on some Airbnbs when I did handyman stuff, and you know I would say you have to install these bars so that
Yeah.
people can grip themselves, keep themselves from falling. And they're like, oh no, we don't really have handicapped people. And I said, but you're offering your services, so you really need to make it handicap accessible.
Right.
And I said, and it's not just for handicapped people. I said,
No.
older people, younger people, when you slip in the shower and there's a bar there, or you're taking a bath, to pull yourself out of the bathtub rather than
Yep.
putting your hand on a slippery, wet surface like the edge of the tub. I said it's much better just to grab the bar, and I said, and it also, I said you can get tax deductions for making your place handicap
Yeah.
accessible. You get it inspected,
Right.
accessible. I said, it can change your insurance because you're not going to get sued. You're not as likely to
Yeah.
get sued. But the best thing to do is to make it so that people can get in and out. And
Right. Right.
stop with all the frilly stuff. People just want
Yeah.
to go to the bathroom. They just want to go to
Right.
the
Right.
bathroom. They don't
I don't. I'm not looking for other things.
potpourri, and there's a little basket on the floor with different
Yeah.
soaps or toilet paper or whatever. I mean, people don't want that because
That's a choking, or not a tripping
yeah,
hazard
it's a tripping hazard.
for older.
So,
Yeah.
and little
I mean,
kids.
if you want a little basket of soap, build a little shelf and have it up high
Right,
so that you can,
right.
keep it off the floor. But yeah, putting things on the floor is when there's things on the floor in the bathroom, I usually just move them out until
Yeah.
I leave.
You said the pool didn't really have any railings for the go.
And no railings to get in and out of the pool. And my mom even had a hard time with
Right,
that.
right.
And it happened like it did have like built-in steps, obviously, like on the shallower side,
Right.
but like even it doesn't matter. I can go up those steps, obviously,
Right.
but I can't. Once I'm out of the water, then I have to have something to hold on to
Right.
be able to hoist myself out. Um, and being in the water is good for people with MS. It always feels good to like be in a pool because I don't have to hold on to something to just like walk around in the water. I can.
Right.
So, so that part is great, but and it wouldn't be that hard to. I know you can buy like floating staircases that you can move around, and
Right.
that you could somehow anchor so it doesn't like move around when you're trying to use it. You know,
Right.
so it would be a totally simple thing to do. But once again, when you're able-bodied and younger, you do not think about those things.
Right.
You know, and I remember not having to think about those things. It was very nice.
Yeah.
you know but as and everybody's going to get older, everybody's going to use the medical system sometime, everybody's going to need something to hold on to occasionally, so it's not like a frivolous thing for people to do, and it shouldn't be like exponentially difficult.
Right. But you
So
you had a good time though.
I did. It's always nice to be with my family. It's always nice.
What do you do?
And my Christmas in July gift that I gave away was, you can get a ViewMaster and you can make your own little ViewMaster reels with your own pictures.
Really?
Like send it to like this ViewMaster place,
Oh,
and you get a ViewMaster, and the reels that come with it are whatever pictures you've sent in.
right.
They'll make it into a ViewMaster reel, which I thought was really
That's
cool.
great.
So I did a bunch of pictures of like past vacations and like old pictures of family and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
that's a good present.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I
I
thought
didn't even
mine was
know they
good.
still made those view men.
Well, apparently they do. I used to have a ton of them. I wish I still did. That and the stereo opticons. My grandparents had one of those
Yeah.
where you like look into it. You have like this. It's a precursor to the ViewMaster because it's just a big cardboard, like a
Right.
postcard, and it has the same image on both sides. You put it in one of those things, and you look through the view this ViewMaster thing kind of, and you can see like they usually would do things like the Arc de Triomphe or
Right.
the Arch, whatever. Like they would have like you could buy it as
It was a
like
travel
a
thing.
yeah,
It used to
travel
be a
thing.
travel thing, like
Yeah,
France or
yeah,
Germany or
right.
the
Or,
Midwest.
or Grand Canyon or
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
I remember
Those
those.
are really
I
cool.
remember those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my grandma had one. But when my grandparents moved from there into their retirement home, they had a huge sale and a ton of things got sold. So
Yeah.
if I wasn't there, I grabbed up a bunch of stuff, but couldn't take it all. And I was in college then, so really couldn't take it all.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
Anyway,
When my grandma died, my mother sold off all this stuff and never even told me they were having an estate sale or an auction.
yeah,
And it just infuriated me that all this stuff was just given away,
yeah,
box for
yeah,
$5 stuff, because that has real sentimental value, because
yeah,
grandmother was very special to me. So
yeah. She was there for you a lot more.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we did some touring. My ex has been off for a little bit, so we're supposed to actually be cleaning the house, but we just keep putting it off, and it's been really nice, really cool at night and everything.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, great.
and not really more than 78 degrees. It's been,
Oh, it's lovely.
yeah, it's been
Yeah.
really, really nice. So we went, like yesterday, we drove to where the end of Quebec, where Vermont
Uh,
is right there. So if you look, I can see Vermont from my from my beach. You can
yeah.
see Vermont right across the way, and it was
That's neat.
just really packed. And it's Lake Champlain, which
Oh yeah.
goes up into Canada. So we went to
Yeah.
Venice, Venice, Quebec is basically what it is. It's I think it's
Okay.
Venice sur plage, Venice on the beach. So, and they have little canteens and little camping places, and so we went and we had some lunch and we walked on the beach and stuff like that. We forgot to bring our suits. We didn't know we were really going to do it. I went to out where we used to live a long time ago. We went out to Saint Jean sur Richelieu when we lived on the river and we had a boat. Um, and because I had to change my banking to
Oh,
here, and you have to go there, and I've been putting it off, and I don't really drive anymore, so Mario had to drive me, so we made it into a whole day kind of thing, and we just been doing like we went to the pool, and now there's beaches because the water is clean, so they have beaches on the St. Lawrence River. So we went
mm,
out and we went swimming, and it was I got really
that's nice.
burned, but we went out and we went swimming, and it was really nice. The current is very strong, and
Yeah.
they've had two drownings recent in June, July,
Oh God.
in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had two drownings of able-bodied men
Oh,
in
that's not
their
good.
20s. But
Yeah.
if you get out in the
Well, but
current,
if the current is really strong, it can just you won't even feel it.
yeah,
There's an undertow, all that kind of stuff,
yeah,
and
and there's rapids, so you have
right,
to, you have to
if
stop.
to avoid getting swept up.
Yeah, but it's been really nice here in Montreal, and like the
Yeah.
street that we live in near is all blocked off, and they put all kinds of stuff out there for kids and stuff like that. Like there's little
Yeah.
mini Adirondack chairs, and there's a
Oh, that's
little
sweet.
bridge that sways, and there's
Yeah.
giant whales that they can
Yeah.
climb on, and there's all kinds of stuff for them to do, and so people
That's
can
cool.
kind of walk. The thing I don't like are the bikes and
Yeah.
motorized bikes, because they really shouldn't be on there, because they're not really
Right.
looking for you, and if you turn to the left or turn to the right at the wrong time, you can be hit. I'm just waiting for
Yeah.
them. Well, they have other areas. Montreal has other areas that are closed off so that people can walk, and those
Yeah.
are very, like, they have police, and it's like you have to get off and walk your bike. You cannot ride
Yeah.
your bike through there. So there's plenty of bike trails. There's more bike trails than I think any other city here. It's just
Wow, that's
amazing.
kind of cool.
It's really
But stay on them then. Like if they have that many, then you
stay
should
on
use
the bike
them.
trail. Don't go through,
Yeah.
where there's kids,
Huh.
elderly, and people in their Jimmy scooters irritate me too. Because they'll
Yeah.
be like, beep, beep, to your left,
Yeah.
to your left, to your left. I'm like, this is not a highway.
No. Yeah. Calm down. Yeah.
So anyway, we're back. And
Yeah.
that's
And hopefully, like it not having a huge break in anytime soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we were away. And so we're going to begin a series in our next episode where we are going to start talking about the different emotions, how it affects us, how we repress them, how
Or,
to
or
different
express or repress. Yeah.
right, express or repress, and how to deal with them.
Yeah.
If we can deal with them so that they can come out in a healthy way,
hmm
and the frustration with trying all these different ways, and sometimes they just don't work, and sometimes I feel it's so ingrained in me that I just basically, like, we're going to start with anger next week, and
Yeah.
I can go into a real rage, and so what I'm trying to do, what I've been doing, is just not be around people, which probably is not the
Yeah.
answer, but it helps me to contain myself a little bit, and not,
Yeah.
because I repression, sorry, anger can turn into depression when you keep it inside,
Yes.
and you're
Yeah.
not able to express it. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in the next few weeks, all the different, anger,
Yeah.
joy,
Emotions that
everything. We're going to cover everything. So we hope you'll stay tuned, and until then, we
like
will
comment.
see you. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.